Oh, the time of going or that?
You know what? When I miss my people.
Good evening. I call to order the City of Gerald Special Call City Council meeting, Tuesday, January 9th, 2024 at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is going to be roll call. We have all members present. Next, we have an invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Jeff Seidel.
Thank you. Before we start out, just a little good news. Our Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, Tanya Clausen, has reached out to a lot of the community churches and whatever in town and community leaders. And we'll probably start February, I think, to have somebody from the community step up, say a little about what your organization might be doing or what you're doing as a community leader, and give us an indication of prayer. Probably take care of that next month. But anyway, dear Heavenly Father, as we gather here for our first city council meeting of the new calendar year, we come before you with gratitude for the opportunities that lie ahead. We seek your wisdom, your guidance, and blessing for our city and its leaders. Lord, we lift up our Mayor Patrick and his wife's family, that by your great mercies and tender mercies, may you bring peace in their time of loss. As we begin 2024, we pray for our city council that we may work together cooperatively with a unified vision. And as always, we thank you for your continued providence in keeping our children and the city safe. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the next item on the agenda is public comments. We have several here. Let me know if you'd like to speak now or when the topic item is brought up. First one we have here is Tom Slovey.
When the topic item is brought up, please.
Okay. Next is going to be Ashley Slovey.
The topic item, please.
Okay. Diane Bernal.
On the agenda,
Okay. David Bryson.
When we get to the agenda,
Jacqueline Allison.
yes, I'd like to speak on it.
Okay. Justin Fenton.
when the agenda is brought up.
Okay. Benjamin Rash.
On the topic, please.
Okay. Cammy Reynolds.
On the topic item, please.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on to agenda item number 3, proclamations. All right. For the City of Gerald, proclamation January 2024 as School Board Recognition Month. Whereas the mission of public schools is to meet the educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society and an ever-changing world. And whereas local school board members are elected by their community members to do what's best for students, and whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students. And whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure provides a solid foundation for our school system. And whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations. Now, therefore, I, Patrick Sherrick, Mayor of the City of Gerald, do by do hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Gerald Independent School District School Board and proclaim January 2024 as School Board Recognition Month in Gerald, Texas. I urge all citizens to join me in recognizing the dedication and hard work of local school board members and in working with them to mold an education system that meets the needs of both today's and tomorrow's children.
We could invite our school board members up who are present. We'll get like set up.
I gotta take one.
Pictures and I will.
Sorry.
Are you all, y'all want to get a picture or?
Yeah, just pass them on down. Hold them up.
Now, we'll give him a round of applause one more time.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is public hearings. Agenda item 4.1, we're going to open a public hearing. Consideration of possible action regarding ordinance number 2024-0109-01 for the annexation of 10 acres out of the James Roebuck Survey number 527 for the Collins Tract on FM 487.
Mayor and council, this tract specifically is asking for annexation in order to start the development process. It's unclear at this time what they want to do. They're fully aware of what the requirements will be moving forward as far as going through additional zoning, utility studies and evaluations. This was just that first step that they felt comfortable moving on to show that they intended to do the project in some capacity.
Okay.
Did we say any questions before?
We do have a public comment speaker on this one. I don't know if you want to do it now or afterwards.
I'll step aside.
Diane Bernal.
Good evening, council members. My name is Diane Burrell. Do you know her?
No.
I am the applicant on behalf of Morales Holdings, who is the owner of the property. This is located off of FM 47. We are moving forward to working with the city of Gerald on a proposal for development at this site location. Currently, we have talked to the city for the services. We officially submitted, electronically. We are here to give hard copies of the submissions and everything to move forward, so we're excited. And,
Thank you.
If there's any questions on them, I'm happy to address them.
No, we haven't.
Okay.
Or, what infrastructure do we have to put in down there? What they're proposing, and do we have the resources to accommodate what they're proposing?
So at the moment, they submitted their zoning packet today. It hasn't been thoroughly vetted, it hasn't been reviewed, anything of that nature. There's a 12-inch water line that runs along the frontage of their property already. As it stands today, we believe we have the capacity to support whatever the 10 acres may bring. For the sewer, again, depending on their zoning and how many LEDs that may be, the improvements would be either at the lift station or, so there is a gravity line that's nearby. They would have to get to that gravity line to the lift station.
And what lift station is it, what number?
The 487 lift station.
And now when you say 487, it's there's apparently two of them. One at the home place, which is the original 487, and then there's the one that's on.
So we call that one the home place lift station just for the.
Well, you changed the name, I'm just saying, you just did 487. So anyway, okay, and then that's gonna be complete then.
So we're working through startup right now, and what that means, we're going to have it complete, fully done and in operations by February.
Can we consider this just like a preliminary hello, because they haven't gone through the development process yet, really?
So this is the first start of their development process. The rest of the processes are.
So I'm approving nothing really, except that you go forward and show us a development plan.
You're approving their annexation, which brings them into our city limits and
Okay,
gives us.
ramifications tax-wise to that, nothing.
Not as up to tomorrow.
So for annexation, it's almost always gonna be positive for the city to annex. We can only do that when a property owner requests, but it does not require you to provide, water or sewer, if it's not available from the site.
So there's no services really.
All of that well, there are certain obviously there's police
Well,
service
that's
there.
what.
But if the development happens later in the process with the zoning, and so if you don't ever approve that, it stays vacant as it is, or, ag zoning, so there's really no
No.
detriment to annexing the property.
We're gonna close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-01-0109-01 as proposed.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Unanimous. Agenda item 4.2. Open a public hearing for the consideration of possible action regarding ordinance number 2024-0109-02 for the annexation of 9.02 acres out of the Edmund Parsons Survey number 494, situated in Williamson County and recorded in document number 2023-002245 as tract 1 in deed records for Texas Star.
Mayor and council, this tract specifically goes along with the Circle K property that's already within our city limits. Their intent is to develop out the rest of this tract, bring in some more commercial, make it a little nicer than what we have today. In order to do that, they have to annex. We will not be providing sewer to this tract. There is no infrastructure for that in the area. And then water, the intent is to bring, and it's development driven, it's development paid for, extend our water facilities to this track and move it around to the 310 facilities where we're gonna get an elevated tank with our project. It's already in the works.
Commercial, will we have the capacity to provide the fire filters?
Yes, so it all comes down to the calculations on the engineering front, but with the extension of the line, the addition of the ARPA line, the elevated tank at 310, which all has to be completed by 26, plus the additional flow we're getting from Lone Star and additional resources we're looking for, should be fairly okay on fire flow.
Fairly okay.
Any comments?
But my concern certainly is the water wastewater situation. If we're gonna bring that small portion of it in, I don't know why we don't just try to develop something a little bit bigger and service that area. We're gonna annex it.
When and if development comes in, there is certainly a little bit of regional approach at this point in time, that there's nothing around it that is coming in that would trigger that full regional approach. The existing, use is already on septic,
Yeah.
so there's no,
Yeah, no, I understand they are, but okay, I mean, that whole area isn't serviced by us, and
it's within our plans. It's on the master plan, it's on
Well,
what we're looking at.
I've seen it, but you're talking way out there, you're not talking, you're only talking years.
Yeah, and this is just for
Years
the.
and years and millions, I mean, so I'm just saying if we can coordinate efforts to supply water and wastewater down there in a bigger way, whether we utilize, well number 7, as an intermediary step, I think that would be right, okay, and that's probably $1 million and $1.5 million project, and, I think that would go a long way to provide service down there. Saving for us to catch up as well. So maybe make it bigger, maybe Action tap into the, Trinity, I don't know. But that's something I would like to look at first before we go ahead and approve this, so.
Our intent in every redevelopment meeting and every conversation about the development process is to regionalize and cooperatively work together with everybody who's required. A lot of the projects we have going on, we couldn't do without support from either the development community or Williamson County or regulatory community. It is the objective in every single meeting we have.
But I mean, have we met with Georgetown for CCN coordination, anything? Have we done that?
So we have had talks with Georgetown about CCNs and things of that nature. When we annex property, it becomes our CCN.
Well, that's my point, so have we decided to do something there, or we made our decision?
As far as,
Taking over a CCN, do we, do an interlocal agreement with them? As far as revenues or whatever?
it's not on the table as of today, just because of the fact that aside from this track and a couple that we've been talking to, there is no major push to develop in this area, which is the reason we're not looking at a regional approach today. When these properties start coming in on Reagan, that changes the game, and that's something we'll have to look at. And
Well, we do have players that wanna get in on Reagan, I mean, more than 1 or 2 that I know of.
Well, so keep in mind, this item is for annexation of 9 acres only. We can't force annexation, it's all voluntary. So right now, what we have in front of us is a request from the property owner to annex their 9 acres.
And I'll tell you, we could do this piecemeal, piece by piece by piece, or we could look at it, put it together as a package to supply our water down there, and our wastewater down there, and develop it in a way where we're actually in control of that growth, and the people that want the water that are down there, that wanted it, can go ahead and execute their plans. I think we should work with those people.
Just if I'm not mistaken, we would have more control under annexation than being in the ETJ.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying anything. Yeah, and you're right, you're
Fall
right.
under,
that's absolutely correct.
You're right,
The
but we,
ETJ have very limited control over anything.
correct.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not so much a matter of control as a matter of you can do this piece by $1.5 million, and then $1.5 million here, and then we're gonna wait a month, and we're gonna have to coordinate, or we can do a plan that says we are gonna do some interlocal agreements, take care of those certificates, okay? Maybe make some plans to provide bulk of that and give them all the water that they need down there. Because we're gonna have to connect with Georgetown, no matter what you're talking, I mean, we're connected. So, I would like to see that before we go ahead and just do one thing at a time. I mean, did we hurt anything by, trying to bring us back perhaps next month with a larger net?
It's just not what the agenda is addressed for. I mean, of course,
Okay,
we have
well, all right,
plans for
all right.
expanding, as Jordan was saying, we do have plans for the water lines to be extended down there. That's all in the process of happening. But again, this item is just for the annexation of 9 acres. And if we don't annex this, then we may not have the ability to do it in the future. Because again, we can only annex when it's requested by the property owner.
Is the property owner here?
I am not sure that they are, I don't think they are.
Well, I certainly would like I would certainly like to see us have a better plan down there than just piece by piece. That's my.
There is stuff in the master plan addressing this. I mean, this is all been discussed.
Yeah, I know, and with no real final answers. Discuss it, but I'd like to see a plan.
I'd like to see us have more control over what's developed there, and if we don't accept the voluntary annexation, they can proceed without our input. That's my concern.
I understand. But how to proceed without the,
They would need our approval, they'd be needing to. And that's right, I mean, the neighboring properties are in city limits.
well, I mean, as long as we can all sit here and agree that we do need to make some sort of a holistic plan for businesses that want to come in there. Yeah, I mean, there's people that want to populate that place, no doubt about it, if they have a facility that they want to get there. And it would be, as a matter of fact, I mean, I'm not saying anything on the school. There's a lot of retail, hotels perhaps, things like that want to come in here in a La Frontier type of a way on Ronald Reagan, much as you see Ronald Reagan develop down there, and the developers would like to develop it. And I think the money, when you look at it, would be tremendous and would be able to be put together with whatever we would need, meaning that if we need to go out and issue a bond or whatever, we should do that.
Doesn't it make more sense for the city to have developers pay for that infrastructure versus the taxpayers?
Well,
On a gamble
You
that there
can-
might be something coming in versus
well, that's
their guaranteed coming in.
But Danny, you've been here a while, and you know that the developers drive it to their liking, and that's fine. But you can't expect them to pick up the bill for everything, and you can't expect them to drive the growth. That's our job. Our job is to implement the will of the citizenry as to what they want, and economically sound. So they don't necessarily want developers coming in and putting in whatever they want to put in. I guess that's what I'm saying. And it's really up to us to reflect the citizens' requirements.
But we also have to understand that those developers are the ones that are putting their money down to buy the land. You know, if we don't want something there, we buy the land and do something else.
You know, Dan, I don't want to get into any argument whatsoever. But you know that the city is suffering financial loss because we promised to do things down there that we haven't done. And to keep doing it piecemeal, and then have to suffer those kind of losses that we're suffering by not providing.
So is this
And expecting
annexation putting us at risk for anything that would, describe what Jeff is telling us? Does it put us at risk for the infrastructure coming immediately, or does all that come at a later time when we do the development?
It all comes at a later time. So there are master plans addressing how the infrastructure should be put in here. There are conversations ongoing with developers to expand the infrastructure in this area. It all comes as part of a process. This is the first step.
Well, we've talked about it for 5 years. We've made commitments 5 years ago. I mean, come on, let's just spell it out. We made promises we didn't keep. And I think as a holistic healing effort, I think we should try to provide what they need down there. Toward Ronald Reagan, connect that, get that moving, rather than keeping it.
I don't
undeveloped.
disagree
And I'm not
that
directing that.
we need to,
But 5 years.
work on the infrastructure and give us extensions in place. I'm just looking at having greater control over what's going there,
Well,
being in our
I
city
understand.
limits.
For the public that doesn't know, we have a huge challenge, whether we grow north, whether we grow south, how our growth is gonna go, and the projects that we put on the table. So I'm just trying to say, if we can consolidate this, and go, look, we're gonna put extra effort to make sure we get stuff done down there, okay? We honestly don't know when that 487 North Station will be done. I hope it's February. It was December, last meetings, we finished in December. We've been playing with that for a couple of years. So I just don't wanna see us do it piece by piece. I would like us to say, look, we do have a plan. 5 years ago, we made promises to how the plan was gonna be executed in our first steps, and we made contract agreements with people that have not been met. And that is wrong. And I don't really want to be part of that. So if we're gonna continue to kick this can, and then this doesn't happen, and then I would like to have council sit down and say, this is what we wanna do with that area. And I don't know, hello, Economic Development Corporation, where are they on? I mean, what input do they have? Anyway. I'm gonna make a motion not to approve the annexation.
Any other comments?
Until we sit down and discuss this further.
Any other comments? Okay. Public hearing is now closed.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-0109-02 for the annexation of 9.20 acres as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Hey.
3 to 2. Next item on the agenda item 4.3, we're going to open a public hearing for the consideration of possible action regarding ordinance number 2024-0109-03 for the annexation of 28.4718 acres out of the Isaac Bunker Survey number 54, situated in Williamson County and recorded in document number 2017-112948 in Williamson County Real Property Records. Gordon?
Mayor and council, this tract specifically, as of today, doesn't have a solid development plan. Again, this is that first step in their process through development. Water will be provided by the city of Gerald. We have a 12-inch line across the street. And sewer will be provided by the regional lift station that is being built today. The capacity for this tract is already accounted for well and above their needs. So when that lift station is in full operation, they will have access to it. Again, like the other tracts, they're gonna have to come back to the process for zoning and plating and all that good stuff. So this is just that first step.
That 12-inch line that we've got running in front of it, that's enough capacity to handle all this development up in here. That's a lot of houses or things going in there.
So we only serve south of 305. So there's a single-family residential house in the horse barn. We serve the CAO subdivision, we'll serve this tract. There's a tract next to it that we've accounted for in our capacity. And then the other two tracts are nowhere near development, I would say. A storage facility was just built on one that requires no utilities. That corner tract has a pretty huge depression in it when you look at it. It's gonna be a pretty large obstacle to overcome, and it's gonna take the right developer to do it. So really, we're only looking at the CAO Gardens tract, which we accounted for, this tract, and the larger tract next to it that we would be serving off of that. Everything north of 305 is Joe Shortner, and it's not.
And as long as the 12-inch line is looped, it can serve a lot of capacity.
I guess the final question is, well, these 12-inch lines can carry the capacity. I'm assuming most of this is coming from our elevated tank here in town? This
Yes,
water?
as of today,
Does
yes.
this tank have the capacity to be able to service that much area?
So the way that it's set up now, yes, with the addition of the ARPA line and the elevated tank down on 310, where our water is going to and from is gonna shift a little bit and balance out across essentially two planes of water consumption. So it will balance out, it's in the works. Even if they annex, if it's approved today, moving through the process, they're not going for 18 to 24 months at a minimum. So that gives us enough time to get the ARPA project done and do any improvements, that we need to do.
When you talk about improvements, my greatest concern is County Road 305. Will that be improved prior to the development taking place? Because there's already development underway, and that stretch of roadway has become extremely dangerous.
So it's still a county project. It was on the bond to be done. They have plans to do it. Unfortunately, because it is a county project, we don't have much control over timeline. Given that it was in this bond and the bond passed, I would assume it's gonna be done within the next 12 to 18 months. But when the project goes for bid and permits to when it's completed, I don't have a solid timeline on
So
that.
I'm looking for clarity there, because if we annex along 305, does then 305 transition become the city's responsibility, or will that remain as the county's responsibility?
We are legally required to annex roadways adjacent to areas we're annexing, so that frontage portion, and I don't know if Jordan knows off the top of her head how wide that is, but that portion would become ours.
That portion's already ours. So when we annexed the Canyon Ranch subdivision, that portion of the road already became ours. Williamson County is still obligated to improve it and then dedicate it back to us, much like they've done with Mud Stockton, and portions throughout town as well. So the project has already been approved, it was in the bond, it's just, I can't prove the timeline.
Now, my concern is to agree with you, Tanya, relative to, making these plans that, we've got 24 months, so we'll be able to go, we have a plan, no problem, it should be done by this date, and if we haven't learned, it doesn't work out that way. So, not that the annexation causes the problem, but that if we do this, somebody's gotta remember that, you've been here before, we don't want to promise and not be able to deliver what we promise.
Our intent throughout all of these processes is always to deliver on timelines, we keep a pretty tight tracking on all of our projects.
Except when we don't.
I can't speak for what's happened
I
previously.
understand.
But
But I want to avoid that, is what I'm trying to say.
given that it's a county project, it's not developer funded, it's not based on, it's the county and it's a bond project, they have to spend the bond funds exactly how they said they're gonna do it in the bond. They're not looking to sit on that money any longer than they need to. Williamson County loves their roads, and that's a huge thing for them, so this isn't something that's just gonna sit on a shelf. for the next
Well, and
10
that's why
years.
on the previous item, I'd rather get together and make a plan. And if we need to go out and get a bond, it needs to be big, let's do it, and let's get it connected, and then open it up. And I think it'll be great for the revenue source, and pay for itself.
The other thing to note, again, this is annexation, and so it doesn't mean that you have to approve any zoning coming forward, but it would bring it into our city limits, and then we have control of it. If you don't annex it, the developer can go out tomorrow and put whatever they want on there.
This is a question for you for the city manager. If we annex it and that stretch of road right there becomes ours, and we already have another part, are we able to restrict what traffic is on it so we're not tearing the roads up? To the extent that we are?
We can, and Jordan corrected me, and I apologize for not catching that. So apparently we do already own this road, because it became ours when Canyon Ranch came in. But you are correct, if it's our roadway, we do have the ability to restrict the kind of traffic, so and I think we're at the point where we need to talk about heavy truck traffic, especially with, there's been a lot of money invested in these roadways, and if we continue to let the amount of heavy truck traffic that's on there right now, they're just gonna, exactly, so we should be protecting those investments.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Any other questions? So we're gonna close the public hearing. And now I'll accept a motion.
So the motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda item 4.4, open a public hearing for consideration of possible action regarding ordinance number 2022-0109-04 for the annexation of 5.66 acres out of the Isaac Bunker Survey, number 54 in Williamson County at 11250 IH 35 in Gerald, Williamson County, Texas, 76537 for Quick Trip. I know we got some public comments.
Mayor, Respectfully, I am going to excuse myself from items 4.4 and 4.5, and that is due to perception of conflict of interest. The representative from Quick Trip is the mayor of the city of Hutto, and I have a current contract with the city of Hutto, so I would like to excuse myself for those two items.
Okay. You are excused. All right, so I don't know if people would like, we have the public comments, some through 4.4, 4.5. Would you like to speak? All right. Mr. Slovey?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I have to start off with, I can't believe we're even here discussing this tonight. I've been here for over 11 years, worked very hard to try to shut down the Flying J because of the problems that it's caused, and now we're considering adding another truck stop to this area. I think it's completely wrong for the city to do this. It's going to be a nightmare for them. You might hear a whole bunch of stuff from QT, that they're good, they're great, they're clean, all of this good stuff, but the reality is so did Flying J when they first came in here. They were good, they were clean, they'll take care of the property. The POA for the commercial Sonterra has just won a lawsuit against them. A $500,000 lawsuit against the Flying J for the stuff that they don't do, okay? So I am opposed to adding either a gas station or a truck stop at that corner. I, along with all of you guys, were at, except maybe one person wasn't at the joint city council workshop, where I thought the consensus was no more truck stops in the area. We did not want to be known as a gas station town where everyone just drove in, got the gas, and then took off. I thought that was the consensus. That was the direction. So what changed? You know, if we're changing this, and if this is a different goal now for the last 4 years, I've been told no gas stations in that general area. We don't want the traffic, we don't want truck traffic, we don't want any of that. In fact, to the point where I planted the 20 acres there at Corn Hill, I was told flat out, the only way we're gonna approve this plat is if we don't allow you to have a gas station at that place. That's directly adjacent to this piece that for this gas station that they're requesting here. So I wanna know what changed. If the direction now is from the city to allow developers to come in and say if they have the money to buy the property, they can develop whatever they want. Well, if that's the case, then next week we will have, I will have applications in here for gas stations all over the place and truck stops all over the place. I can absolutely guarantee you I turned down at least 20 gas stations, at least 5 or 6 truck stops that wanted to be in or along 35. We do not want to be known as a gas station town, period. I mean, I thought that was the direction that we were going with this, so I'm very surprised to see us going backwards on this. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm in favor of gas stations, but I'm in favor of neighborhood gas stations. I want gas stations that are close to people, where they get up in the morning on Sunday, they go over to fill up their tank of gas, half a mile away, maybe a mile away. 1 minute, 3 minutes.
That was your 3 minutes.
Okay.
If you would like to speak about it, or?
No, I'll stop him.
Okay. Well, then,
Okay,
keep going.
so we want people to be able to go to gas stations. We want them getting up in the morning, going over, getting their gas, getting their milk, getting their bread from the convenience store, and going home, okay? We don't want them coming from 1105, 4 miles or 3 miles up to 35, or 305 and 307, coming all the way into 35 and getting their gas and turning around. It's not a very good plan for traffic, okay? But let's assume that you guys give them the 4 pumps, the 3 spaces, or the 4 spaces that they're looking for, and no overnight parking. I wanna know who's gonna confront truck driver 5, 6, 7, 20, 30? When they come over and they drive up and they get off on the freeway and they drive up and they can't get into that place, where do they go? Okay, is it the store clerk that's gonna confront that truck driver and say, hey, you can't park here? Okay, is it the code enforcement officer here in Joe? I don't know if we even have one to do that. Is it the city police? Probably none. And even if we do find them, even if somehow we find someone to find them, we're talking a couple $100 per fine. This company is a $9.9 billion company. 11 billion company. A couple $100 is not gonna be a big deal to them at all. So let's assume that we have an attendant out there that actually stops and says, hey, we're full, okay? You still have a 75-foot sign is what they're requesting, saying QT is here in Gerald. Well, all these truck drivers know that QT has spaces to park trucks. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna get off the freeway, off of Bud Stockton Road, they're gonna drive up on the road, they're gonna say, oh, we don't have places to park. So where are we gonna park? Everywhere. Okay, they do that now, they've done that in the past. All you have to do is go up on the rest area and see it. When that rest area is full, they are parked all the way down 35 on the thing, and they will do the exact same thing here. It's nothing against QT, it's just truck stop or a gas station at that location is just not good for the community. Truck stops or gas stations on 35, they service the people on 35, the traffic on 35. They're not servicing, really, they will service the people in the community. They're servicing the traffic on 35. QC states that they'll resurface FB Schwecker the length of their property. Well, that's great, okay? What happens a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when that has to be resurfaced 2, 3, 4 times? All you have to do is look at Sonterra, the Lake Sonterra, or go out to 314. That road has, or 305. Who's gonna cost to pay to replace that? Okay? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll take care of these. Okay. If that's all right. Is that all right? So who's gonna repair that road? Now that that road is in the city limits, responsibility to repair it the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth time is gonna be the city of Gerald residents. Is that really the cost that we want to incur on that? I can guarantee you, those trucks, I've been here 11 years. I know that they will park wherever they can. They're not gonna get off the freeway, stop and say, oh, well, wait a minute, I can't get in here, and just keep going. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna stop where they can, they're there, and they're gonna be done. My understanding is that we've had enough opposition on this property, or on this agenda item, that the city council will have to have a super majority. Is that correct? Okay. And with one person abstaining, that means all 4 of the city councilmen have to vote yes in favor of this. Okay, so all I'm asking for, I would love to see a unanimous no, because that will absolutely tell the citizens where the direction is that we're going. And will also tell the P&Z, give them clear direction of what the city council is expecting, okay? And it will also send a very clear message to all future truck stops that this is not what we want in our city, especially right there in our area, okay? Okay. Questions, just the outside questions. Did an actual traffic study be done for them, or have they just said, this is a great place for us? Have we actually done, and I know you can't answer, I'm just rhetorically saying it. Has an actual traffic study been done by engineers, traffic engineers on this? And just to reiterate, QT can promise anything. Okay, they can come in, they can say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that. I need to know how it's gonna be enforced, who's gonna enforce it, how we're gonna hold them accountable, because those are the things that we have to be accountable for, and we have to look forward. And once again, if it's developing just because the developers have the money to develop it and they're investing in our community, then why do we even have a P&Z? Why do we even have anything? okay? Because we should just allow them to go in there and do whatever we want. And I am a developer, so I get it, I understand. I come here 12 years ago, I'm maybe an outsider, but I still love this town, and I think it has a place to grow. And I think, I feel like I've committed myself to this community, and I feel that this is a bad decision to have another truck stop in this area. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. All right, next speaker, Jacqueline Allison.
Good evening.
Good evening.
In addition to what Mr. Thomas Lovey said, I'd just like, and I'm gonna make this short, I totally agree that my land is 200 feet from this property, proposed, Quick Trip. On my way from Round Rock, I counted from 5 gas stations in Gerald as of now, and 7 as I'm coming into Walburg. The Walburg Truck Stop, Texas Star, and Flying J are the main ones. That intersection at Seabed Stockton is a nightmare. I think I sat through it probably a good 30 minutes. And it was, what I'm proposing, or what I think needs to happen, is if you're gonna turn that property into a commercial property, get a family restaurant. Put a family restaurant in Gerald, a Chili's, a Cheddar's, I don't know, like a Texas Roadhouse, anything where you can take your family of 5 or 6, mom and dad can have a steak, a salad, the kids can have hamburgers or chicken pot, or whatever, you know. It's just an example, like there is no, I mean, you have Mexicano, which is a family restaurant, but what other family restaurants do you have where you can like go in and have a nice meal, where you can sit down at a booth or a table, or meet with friends for lunch, for meetings? I just propose that I think Gerald needs a family restaurant. That both my grandfather's land and my aunt's land, and so they were all a huge family, so I think they would appreciate to see that more than a gas station.
Thank you. Next, we have Justin Fenton.
Thank y'all for hearing me, council.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, I represent the landowner. I'm not a resident of Gerald, but I kind of want to put to rest all the rumors and I mean, several of them were spoke up here that this is not a truck stop, guys. This is not overnight parking. You can't go in and take a shower. This is an actual QT gas station. So, QT is a corporate entity, not a franchise. So if you look at any of the QTs in our surrounding area, they are neat, they are clean, they are presentable, unlike some of the ones that are already here in Gerald. I think Mr. Slovey talked about Lake Gerald. So they're already saying, hey, look, we'll repave FB Square. So I think that their intent is good. I think that, you know, a lot of people are against this because it does not fit their agenda, that they're wanting to put in other convenience stores in the area, and this may block their store having a QT in that location. I really don't. I don't know how we got to such an awful mess on this. So I'm really speaking from the heart on it, and I don't know if y'all have seen this property, but I don't think that's the kind of welcoming sign that you want coming into Gerald. They're gonna go in and clean up all these old dilapidated buildings, clean up that area, make it look good. It's gonna be well lit on your corner coming there on, 314 and 35. So, I mean, there's a million other things. Tax revenue. Y'all, the city of Gerald is making $0 off of this property right now, especially the ISD. So we want to do the right thing and bring it into the city limits where you can get the tax revenue off that property and have some good things coming out of this property. You know, there's just a million other things that I feel that this property will do, being transformed into a commercial and being brought into the city, will do a lot of good for the city. I don't think it's just gonna be another truck stop as everybody's worried about. There's no overnight parking there. So, I ask for your consideration on this and to approve, this rezone. Thank you.
Thank you.
George? Applicant, could I speak on it or no?
You are,
Paul Gorman from Quick Trip. I'm the applicant.
I didn't know he was here. I think the other guy didn't know he was here. You didn't know he was here? He said, no, anyway.
No.
yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
we have questions.
I was gonna say, if you don't mind, we'll go through the basics and then,
Yeah.
I'll open it to the applicant if you guys have any questions for the request. So on this track specifically, we've talked about septic, there is no sewer on site, the water is gonna be provided by Charles Schwetner. For this track specific, or for this item specifically, it's only the annexation, it is not yet the zoning is a separate item. So any motions made right now on this item is just to bring it within city limits, the zoning comes next on the agenda.
One other comment I'd like to add that is by bringing it into the city limits, that's where you have control over the development, and so I would recommend annexation, regardless of how you go forward.
And as stated, I have the applicant here if you have questions for either of us.
And Jordan, I hate to put you on the spot for this, but the supermajority that was triggered, is that triggered for both items, or is that just triggered for the zoning item?
Just for the zoning. The annexation, to my knowledge, is in the rest.
Thank you.
Did we have any input from EDC on this again? I mean, they're the economic folks, did you have any input from EDC on them?
Typically, a gas station doesn't trigger.
Plus, you never talk on a gas station, it's a truck stop,
Either way, a fuel service development such as this doesn't usually.
So we
trigger.
don't coordinate with EDC.
We absolutely coordinate with.
Is that right? So
Yeah.
what was their
Economic
opinion?
development
What's
projects.
their opinion?
This is not.
It's not an economic
Development project.
Goes to P and Z. If you would like all your applications to go to the EDC, you would just need to give us that direction.
I think we need to coordinate a little bit more with EDC and what their direction is for how they want to develop things. And not that they have to be involved in everything, but these kind of issues, they ought to be involved with. I mean, I'd like to see some finances on it. I know that the company's reputable. I also know it's a corporation. And as a corporation, if their numbers aren't coming out in December, they can a project, or they do whatever they can to save money. They don't go by the same rules as other things. They go by a corporate profit
Again,
center.
on this item specifically, it was just the annexation. That is
Okay,
part of the
so
zoning
we're doing the
process.
supermajority for this? Is that?
Not this
We'll do the next one?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we can bring it inside the city, but then
The zoning.
not
is
approve
complete.
4.5 to change the zoning to allow.
Well, I'm just trying to shorten the process up a little bit.
Well, again, so if something is not within our city limits, we have no control over what they do. They can go just outside our city limit line and build whatever they want with no input from us whatsoever. It's TxDOT right of way, which means we're not even dealing with the drive permit, TxDOT is.
Well, I'm just gonna say, and I know we haven't closed up for vote yet, but I've been everywhere, man, if you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about, okay? Never in all my years in running for city council have I heard somebody say, no, we need you to be working hard on getting another gas station. Bigger the better. But the more profitable, more clean, that's what we want here. Never have I heard anyone say that what we need is another gas station. Do we want to exacerbate this? No. Therefore, in the public comment, we'll go into the other one, but I will make a motion to not approve it.
Since we're still in a hearing, I'll ask you, because I keep hearing truck stop and gas station. Every QT I've been to in my life, they're gas stations, they're not truck stops, they're not large vehicle facilities. What is the layout on your,
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a gas station. It has diesel bays, but is not one of our larger travel centers. That would be closer to what is laid out as a, truck stop, I think that everybody's referring to. But, you know, we do have,
He's passing this out. The conversation we had at P and Z
so this is the elevation
is that
of the building.
we're here to sell gas. That's not our primary thing. Our primary is to sell food.
The site plan itself.
Over 65% of the sales of the store is in fresh made food. We still sell gas from back in 1958 when we started. The problem we've had in some of the communities that are growing fast is that some of the rock haulers, I'm sure you all have seen those, they tend to fill up at the pumps as well. And so we try to keep the trucks separate from where the regular people fill up. And so the idea was to have a separate place for trucks to fill up, not have a place to park overnight, and also have it to where they can back up when they go inside. To be quite blunt, if the concern is trucks, then I ask you just to approve it without trucks. Because I honestly don't think that's a concern. I think the concern is some of our competitors, some other people who have aspirations of opening up something similar, are saying it's a truck issue. So what I would challenge the city council for is if that is a concern, then allow a Quick Trip to be here so we can sell our food and our fresh made products to everybody. And we won't have trucks in the back, we won't have truck parking, we won't have any of that. Because for us, the only reason we were doing that was to try to protect the people we're here to serve. To separate the people who are gonna fill up, and if you go down Round Rock, you see the trucks filling pumps. But we argued about this for 2 hours at P and Z, and from our company standpoint, we're here to serve you all and to serve the people. We're not here to be a burden, and so if trucks is the issue, then we can take that all away, and then according to one of the comments, then we'll automatically not park anywhere by us, right, because we won't have trucks. A truck stop as you see at Flying J is disgusting, okay, I wouldn't even bring my kids there, we go on the side of the road. They don't keep the place clean, they have showers, they have really nasty restaurants. Salado is having what we might call a truck stop, in that it has the exact same building, only it has overnight parking. We don't have showers, we don't have restaurants, we don't cater to any of that clientele. So whether we come here or not, your problems at Flying J are not going away, that's a problem they have there.
I appreciate your flexibility anyway, that you be flexible. But I just do want to speak to the fact that, and remind council of our job. Our job is not to decide whether we like your sandwich or not. Our job is not to decide whether we like your gas. And you have, as a corporation, a great reputation. You're a big corporation. Okay, I think the largest, are you the largest?
If I may add one other thing, staff has brought this up once before. One of the things we try to do is do the right thing, it's a core value, okay? The right thing for a lot of the corporations you speak of would not be to come here and annex in your city.
Right.
Why would a corporation want to annex into your city and pay city taxes when you're not providing the sewer, you're not providing this water? There is no reason for us to annex in your city, none whatsoever.
Well, again,
The only reason we are is because the right thing to do
Yeah.
is to be a part of the community, annex in. So if you guys deny us, that doesn't stop necessarily the Quick Trip from coming. You've got Senate Bill 2308, I'm sure you guys have talked about that. Anything else we can annex out of the ETJ. We're not trying to do that, we're trying to do the right thing as a corporate to almost prove you wrong, so that you can then show other people who come up and develop. Quick Trip's done this. Quick Trip did this. When Quick Trip had the opportunity to build an ETJ and have zero input from the city, Quick Trip took the hard route. We went into the city, we talked to staff, we said, how do we rebuild this road you guys have issues with? How do we widen the frontage road on 35?
and again, we appreciate all the
Sure.
hypotheticals. I mean, and it's what they are.
So you would rather us just build an ETJ outside of the
You
city?
put me on the spot. I would remind you that we highly regard your corporation, but at the same time, you have to do the right thing.
Sure.
Now, the right thing for us, as council, is to reflect the desire of the citizenry, not any other reason are we here. We're not here to implement our desire or what we think should occur. And the citizens have spoken on this multiple times. And as I said before, I haven't yet to go somewhere and have one of my constituents say, hey, can you get a gas station in here, over here? As a matter of fact, they're yelling about needing proper traffic to go through there and what they do want to see.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
an excellent
So,
point.
so I just want to let you know what,
Yeah.
and remind council what their job is.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
And one of the items that you mentioned, and that has been mentioned by Tom and someone else, is the traffic issue at Bud Stockton and I-35. I mean, I know, I don't live here, but I know every time I come up here that I have to wait at that if it's a certain time of day. But one of the items we identified with TxDOT, we said that this is one of the intersections that has been identified to get a signalization, is that that's something that we would also want. We don't want a big line piled up so nobody can get in or out of our property. That would be,
again, we're arguing over the minutia of it, and I don't think that.
So we would have that
Again,
conversation
with
TxDOT.
full respect for your corporation, I'm not gonna get my vote. My vote will be with the citizenry and what they desire, and we do not want that.
So I keep hearing your competitors want to be there, so I live in General City and I also have a business in Valterra and been here for a long time. It's not a problem with Quick Trip, everybody likes Quick Trip, from what I've heard, they're like, yeah, they're clean, everything's set, it's just that corner. They don't want a gas station, they don't care if it's Buc-ee's or what, it's just that corner, is the problem. So you're not fighting against convincing us that Quick Trip is a great gas station, like you said, it's specifically that corner where people don't want a gas station, period, it is just causing the community.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
So if the outcome is gonna be a Quick Trip either way, and the decision is a Quick Trip in the city limits or a Quick Trip out of the city limits, would the citizenry be better served by having city codes and the UDC followed because it's inside the city limits? Or would your citizens be better served if the Quick Trip was built to Williamson County specs outside? Because I think that's really what the rezoning or what the annexation is about. Does the city want control over the development of that property? Or do you want to give the control to the county? I think that's really what is really before you all. And what I'm hearing is we should probably just pull our application to annex and then just build in the county. But I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think the right thing is to have y'all's input and build a Quick Trip that is something that you all have input on, you all have given guidance on, and that we come together. But if it's just a either or, like Alderman Seidel says, then I mean, it sounds like that's the route that's not the right route for us, but that's the easiest route. But I guess that's what we're really looking for is how do we build this?
Well, I think that the right thing for us is to do what the citizens want, that's the whole idea, that's what we're here for.
Well, we also have to, and I know what my job is too, so we also have to look at the future. Growth is coming in, we've got more and more people, we're going to have fuel stations, whether QT, X1, whatever, it's where they get placed. I agree, right there on that corner is probably not the best spot. I mean, that is a high volume area, let's call it what it is. Have you looked at any other locations within our area? When I say our area, ETJ or city limits, right?
Sure, that makes sense. So that's part of my job. I've been at Quick Trip 30 years. Last 16 have been in site selection development. I'm not an engineer, I do traffic studies. I'm the person who manually counts, like they did in the 1950s, every truck, every car that enters at every single signalized intersection in your city. We're like that, know more about the traffic than the engineer does from one standpoint. The engineer sees it on paper, I live the backup, I see it. What you'll find is the Quick Trip being here is actually where you want the store. I don't understand the neighborhood gas stations, that causes more issues, okay? Neighborhood gas stations cause issues because you're taking people, when you're driving down the highway and you need fuel, you exit, you drive a mile in to get to the Shell. We're accessible for everybody that goes to Sonterra on their way home. You go in, we're a pass-by business, you stop, you go home, you're done. If you're in a neighborhood, you're constantly coming and going, you actually create more traffic by having neighborhood C-stores. This area is right for us because of the turning movements, the traffic that comes, and we're able to work with TxDOT
to alleviate the issues that you guys are seeing. If you have development there, TxDOT operates faster, right? One of the things we brought up at P and Z is we were completely okay with the requirement from the city, barring however the city attorney sets it up, that we would not start construction until the intersection was signalized and the improvements were put in. I mean, we're planning on widening the road that, quite frankly, some of the things I heard is that some people expect the citizenry to pay for developers' infrastructure. We don't believe that. In our world, if the road needs to be widened because we're gonna be there, we need to shoulder that cost. So there's no cost to the city, but again, I understand not everybody likes the location. If we build outside of the city, I don't know how that helps anybody. It doesn't help from the traffic standpoint. We would still widen, I'll be honest, we would still widen, the frontage road because it's needed. I don't know that we would repave to the extent that we were talking about, Bud Stockton or, 313. So a lot of things we're trying to do is to alleviate concerns. I don't know that we would do all those the same way. Told you about trucks, but if it's that big of an issue, we would just more than likely withdraw our application, not spend any more else's time, and then just meet with, Williamson County, Bridge and Roads and figure out access, and we've already got everything worked out with TxDOT, what needs to be done. We just don't think that's the good corporate image to do. But we wanna do what your guys' wishes. If your wishes was don't have it in the city limits, then I guess we don't do it in the city limits, we just do it in ETJ, but I don't think that's the right thing personally.
Thank you. Jordan, just for clarification, this is just voting to bring it inside the city limits?
This is just the annexation, we haven't even made it to zoning yet.
Correct. So this is not approving UT of actually coming here.
This is just bringing the land within
land
our
inside.
incorporated limits, which they discussed the authority to zone it in the next.
And in general, is it 2 readings for annexation? We respectfully request to pull the item. We've heard you loud and clear, you don't want it in the city.
She's speaking with our attorney to see if we're allowed to.
That's not fair to them, though. We go and allow them in if they know you're not doing it. You know what I'm saying?
If I may, their zoning specifically has 3 different levels. So you have to approve the fuel service, you have to approve the trucks, and you have to approve the variance for their sign. So it's 3 levels.
Sorry, they can come out there.
And every one of those things can be altered from the recommendation from P and Z. The zoning is up to you guys. It's one of the most flexible tools we have. Annexation itself, it's a very strict legal process, and this is the process that we're on. So, if there's something to be worked out during the zoning that might make everybody happy, that's a portion of it. But if we don't do the annexation, they do have the right to go into the county and do that.
Which we would love to work with you all, because as God is my witness in 30 years, the reason you hear good things about us is because we don't do things that other people do, because it's not about the dollar. That's why we heard at the P and Z, someone said it's a corporation, they always sell. Well, it's been around since 1958. The employees own more of the company than the owner does. It's an employee-owned company. The reason I can come up and say we're gonna repave the road and I don't have to call my boss is because we are empowered to do what's right. Not just for Quick Trip, to do what's right for the people we're gonna serve. But again, I don't wanna waste your guys' time all night, and I agree there are concerns. We're willing to work with them, like I said about trucks. If you don't want trucks, we can take that off the table, okay? We're trying to alleviate issues. We have over 1,000 stores we built identical. The reason I know an issue that you all may not agree with, that I am confident it's an issue, is because all we built is the exact same store. Have you ever seen a different looking Quick Trip? They're all identical. So we know the issues. But we're willing to go ahead and build it, and we can work on the issues later, as you guys see them, and someone comes back and says, you know what, Mike, there may have been an issue there. Our company is the type that will come back and fix it, where everybody else tells you, sorry, not the problem. But again, we don't wanna annex property that you don't want us there, and we don't, I mean, I don't know if you wanna tie them both together, and, if your attorney lets you do that to where you can hear them both at the same time, but.
You can hear them at the same time, but you have to vote on them separately.
Let me ask you, if you don't want us to pull on the annexation, that you vote on the zoning first, and then,
It has to be done in this order, unfortunately.
I guess the question council's gonna have to consider now is, as we've been told, the citizens don't want the QT there. Do the citizens want a QT there that's regulated, or a QT there that's Wild Wild West? That's where we're at now.
and we respectfully ask regulation.
Let's give you credit, you got us in a good position there.
It's not on purpose, I can assure you.
It's like chess or something.
No, but I've been doing this for 16 years, and we meet with a lot of neighborhoods. And I would say, not everybody's gonna have a quick trip. But I would go on record and say some of the people that are not happy about the quick trip either don't live in the city or are not concerned about the quick trip. It's more for another relationship, okay? Like I could come to any meeting and say I don't want in and out because of whatever reason. Very few companies will you have, and I would challenge you to never have a company come up and try to spend tax money in your city and spend money and do things that benefit your city and don't benefit our pocketbook.
So, city manager, is this something that we should, now that there's obviously more information coming out that the public may not be aware of, that they can do whatever they want to, whether we say yes, no, have another, have another hearing off and get some more citizens input, now that they know it can be regulated versus unregulated?
So my recommendation is still the same, you go forward with the annexation. The thing that I went to go ask Mr. Rodriguez is if the applicant has a right at this stage to actually pull the application. He said that they do, so they can take away the annexation, and then we're done here tonight, for this item. I would still recommend you go forward with the annexation, and if you do that, that does give the citizens a second chance to comment on the actual zoning one, since they're two separate items.
Are we able to table this annexation for the next meeting? Because I don't know the owner very well. He's a long-term resident here, his family. I don't think it's appropriate for us to proceed to annex property and then him pay city taxes and have regulation when the Horace team is doing that. Just for a quick chip, I know that the votes are different, but I think if the idea is to have a second public comment, I think it would behoove all of us to table it to the next council meeting, give everybody an opportunity to then come up and speak also on that, and then let's have another dialogue.
I'm not.
I mean, is it legal, I mean, can we legally do that, or?
I don't think we're against any shot clock on this if we want to table since it's been, so.
Like I said, now that there's more information, if you want to truly do what the citizens want to, I want to know either they want it regulated or they don't want it regulated.
I think I spoke for them, and I think that you're pursuing something that is not gonna give you. I really resent, trying to squeeze us into, look, we're gonna do it anyway, besides, that's being a good citizen. That's being a good corporate neighbor. I'm gonna vote no, regardless of that. I'm gonna represent the citizen, and I just want you to know, if you wanna pursue it, run away with it. But you're not getting my vote, and I think that there are other people on the board that think so.
Can I ask you one more question?
No,
How many citizens, so you heard from 4.
no, sir.
May I finish? You heard from 4 publicly, how many would need to come up in support, or how many need to write you in support to then for you to say you've heard from citizens? To Alderman Klepek's point, if people come up and speak, how many determine, is it 5 need to be, or is it, 500?
Obviously, you're in sales. I mean, I just hope.
close this public hearing.
So do we need to be withdrawing or pull?
Table.
It's up to the applicant
Well,
if they want to
we don't
withdraw,
table,
it's up to the
if the
council if they
applicant
want
wants to
to table.
withdraw, let them withdraw, I advise that to them.
But if we table, we would decide on the next hearing, now that there's more information out. I mean,
I don't know what to say.
And if it's council that tables, they also have the right to withdraw.
So you can do what you want, you want to withdraw.
if we pull it, we just reapply.
You'd have to go back to P and Z if
Yeah.
y'all withdraw.
You know, could move to postpone to a different meeting.
But that would be the council action.
That would be another public meeting, right? We can do another public meeting on this?
No, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
We've already done it.
But we can have a public, so we can have.
Yeah. So I guess I just, excuse me, I think you can have another public hearing on it, but but are you asking whether you're required to do that? No, that would be over and above the minimum requirements would be, you can, if for a council to do it, you can do a motion to, set for the next hearing, and part of that motion would be to republish for a new public hearing as well. So if you're just tabling the item, the only item that is to be postponed is an annexation item, which is what you are considering.
My concern is I would like input now that everybody knows that it would be, either way it's gonna be there. What do the citizens want us to do? That's what.
Well, I don't know that to be true, Dan. I mean, we don't know. They bring that back to corporate, they withdraw, maybe corporate goes, hey, look, our numbers aren't good this month. We're going north, we're going to Slate, what? You gotta know the inside of that too. It's not definite.
Well, but if I'm running a corporation, I'm gonna put it in, start building. I mean,
Okay, well,
that's,
your vote.
so once again, you'd be okay doing that, opening for the public to be able to speak to us
You
again.
can, if you wanna postpone on a definite date, you can do that with the proviso that there be another public hearing on the item.
And if we did that and opened it, are we able to allow the citizens, or let the citizens know, a little bit more information about what's actually going on? Like, it can be built either way or anything, or where we can get more citizens out here to tell us what they actually want? Or is it very limited in this here?
I'm trying to think of the best way to do that. I think you've got a lot of citizens here that can perhaps spread that information. It becomes a little bit trickier if the city themselves
Right,
is.
the city can provide
Mhm.
the application, the city can provide what the applicant has provided. But I mean, to ask the city staff to in some way take a position on it, I think is probably not.
Well, that was
the
not my
most
intent, take a
appropriate.
position, I'm talking about where all the information's out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something that can be linked to the website.
Can we ask questions?
It's right here, we can let it go to the people, they see.
That would be up to the council to.
Quick question?
Well, yeah, I just had a question, so is it like, our only two options is they're going to build it either way, and then, if we annex it, we get taxpayer, and then it's in.
Please don't say that
Oh,
again.
okay, I'm just
They
asking, 'cause-
necessarily will not build it again. He represents a corporation.
I just
He will go back and
don't-
deliver the
We didn't
news
get to
that-
talk,
I-
if you
I
guys were
think-
gonna vote
all right.
either way.
Do they,
Yes, yeah, you're
Okay.
right, you're right.
we're not gonna sit here and debate values.
She didn't get to finish her question.
Well, she didn't submit a card, I mean,
I
I
don't-
don't do that.
My
I
husband
don't
did.
I don't believe we know whether they're gonna build it or not, and we're not gonna be able to figure that out in this meeting. Correct?
Correct.
So if the applicant would like to withdraw their application, they can withdraw it.
I have a question.
Yeah, withdraw.
Do they currently own this property? Or is it still, no?
That's right, it's under contract.
It's under contract.
It's under contract.
Pending decision here, or?
But yeah, we're not investment bankers. So
Sure,
We do
sure.
one thing, we build
Sure.
structures.
So we're
If
saving
QT
everybody a
owns
bunch of.
The company, they can do what they want, with it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all, that was my question.
Okay, that's what, I'm sorry.
Yes, if we were to own the property, we would build a quick trip. We don't sit on property, we don't play land, playing games, we build quick trips. We try to do it, like I said, we try to do it in a manner that meets all needs. We don't want it to be in a hard corner. I know there's a concern that we're a giant corporation and numbers don't hit and we won't build. I'm not spending my time here on an evening because we're just playing games. We're here, if you pass this
But you don't
tonight
make
or the
those
next meeting,
decisions, I don't mean to argue, but we don't really need to go.
then I would say then on a zoning thing, have it expire after so many months. And that way we annex this into the city, have the SUP and, I don't know what you wanna call it, the requirements expire after 15 months. If we don't build it, then we lose all of our rights. I mean, with our job, Paul and I's job is, when you think we're playing a game, we're willing to put down on paper to prove to where you're protected, but that's our job. But, since you guys are tabling, so we'll, yeah.
So they're going to pull the application?
If you're not gonna table,
Yeah.
I'd like to table the, have another public hearing, but that's just me.
I'd like to table it, and I don't need another public hearing. Myself.
I want to do
So,
a public
anyway,
hearing.
you want to take that, I don't know how you want to do that.
Motion?
Well, we can have a motion table for, and have another.
There's a motion on the floor to table and have another public hearing. All right, that motion failed. Lack of support.
so far.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your
I
time.
think they're pulling their application. So we're gonna close this public hearing, 4.4.
So you'll have to act on this.
No, just think about the land. Why did they not want more annexation?
So we're gonna open a public hearing for 4.5.
Since they pulled their item, would we consider that pulled for, 4.5 too, or should we? So the 4.5 is. And there's still a portion. And we can't assume that they will.
Seems like I need to work with the city council. From what Jeff says, I don't know nothing. So from what Jeff says, I don't do anything.
All right, okay, we're gonna move on to agenda item 4.6. We're gonna open a public hearing for the consideration of possible action regarding ordinance number 2024-0109-06 for the rezoning and conditional use permit for fuel at 1200 County Road 305, Gerald, Texas, 76537. Jordan? She's still out. Okay.
Oh, yes.
They did pull theirs.
Need to state that on the record.
We're gonna go back to 4.5. Okay, so I read 4.6, so if you'd like to enlighten us.
Mayor and council, this subject tract is also a gas station. It is intended to be a neighborhood commercial serving gas station. Sewer will be provided by City of Gerald, water will be provided by Gerald Schwetner Water. Existing uses around it, just for reference, there's a single family residential house to the north, to the east. We have the new Kids Zone project that's going in just to the west of it, and then south is the storage facility.
Do we have all kinds of that is?
It's intended to be, it's called the Weird Gas Station, it's from Austin. It's another,
Also, one thing to note is that Williamson, we found out today, Williamson County does have 2 properties listed with the same address. So while it is the correct address, it should not be the address. So just to note, it is the property at the corner of County Road 307 and County Road 305.
Is that currently in the city limits?
Yes. And the ordinance, if it shall pass, will be noted with the legal description. We did not realize that 2 properties were addressed the same. We have the representative here for the project as well, if there's any questions for the girls.
That intersection, that road, we're getting handled the additional traffic there.
So without having a formal traffic study, we can't guarantee how much traffic they have, and that comes when we get into engineering after they pass them. I believe in talks with Williamson County, the intent, long range wise, is to straighten out 307 to give you a mild curve in the road at some point in the future, which would allow this track a little more ease and not so many hard turns. Part of P&Z's recommendation was to ensure alignment with driveways and make sure that there wasn't a lot of conflicts on there. But without that full traffic study, I can't tell you how many cars it would generate.
The other thing to note is that there are certain types of uses that are gonna draw traffic, and there are certain types that are gonna take existing traffic. So for instance, the school obviously draws traffic, right? You're going to the school because you're going to the school. In this location, this is more one of those uses that's gonna divert traffic, so it's not likely to create a whole lot of additional traffic, more just drawing traffic from the street itself.
What do we know about this gas station, this company? I've never been to one of these, so I remember that one.
I've been talking to
Talk
Steve
about it.
on that.
But we can tell it's not a quick trip, so.
I can guarantee you, people are not gonna be coming off of 35, driving down 305 to this gas station. Guaranteed that's not gonna happen. Big trucks. This is considered a neighborhood gas station, as I mentioned before. People will just, on their way to the school, swing in, get their gas, which is exactly the intent of these type of gas stations. You swing in, you get your gas, you go drop off your kids, and you leave for the evening. You cut it all at the same time. This is the gentleman that is proposing this, has done multiple ones. This will be his 28th one. They're all very clean, very nice facilities all throughout North Austin. I believe that we had some pictures, I don't know if we conveyed that over or not, but there was some exhibits for it that showed exactly what it was gonna look like and how the intent of it. The property is big enough. Most neighborhood gas stations only need about an acre and a quarter, acre and a half, as I suggested prior. This is a little bit larger than that, and what he is committed to doing is he's committed to doing a strip center when the population warrants, to do a strip center next to it. So he'll put in the gas station, convenience store, and then as the growth comes around there, then what he'll do is he'll build another, I believe it's a 5,000, 6,000 square foot, maybe a 10,000, I don't know.
There's a slight plan in your packet that shows what's proposed.
That he'll put in a neighborhood, stuff for, dry cleaners, nail salon, those type of neighborhood uses. Nothing that would be drawing from the 35. It's all just stuff that is local traffic.
And then they said how many pumps he wants to put in?
The P&Z offered 8, I believe it is. He is fine with 4 to 6. That's how small he wants to make it, so he is fine with that. If you want to reduce that, once again, his intent is just to be a neighborhood gas station. Convenience store.
And with this being a conditional use permit, sorry to butt in, there's a lot of things that you can request in addition to our standards, so it could be enhanced landscaping, enhanced sidewalks, enhanced buffering, things of that nature. All of that is on the table because of the conditional use permit. I believe the P&Z also recommended, a wall around it.
And he is 100% okay with that. He said he will build the wall up as tall as you guys want it. If you want to make it out of masonry, he will do the masonry. No issues at all with any of that.
And all of this is part of the conditional use permit. They give us the most flexibility in what we can request.
Additional landscaping, if you wanted to look, if there's additional trees that you want on it, or islands that you wanted to make a little nicer, he's open to all of that. He says, I have no problems with any of that.
And it could be the pumps are hidden behind landscaping, or the pumps are in a not front or street facing. I mean, there's a lot of things we can request.
And he's okay with all of that.
Any other questions?
So what are we approving here?
So it would be the conditional use permit for fuel service and the zoning change to C2. With that conditional use permit, you can put the restrictions that you were comfortable with. The P&Z made a recommendation that's in your packets. Off the top of my head, it's pretty long, so I don't remember it completely. But essentially, it's traffic mitigation and driveway alignment, a wall or barrier around the property on the north side and the east side. You guys can request sidewalks, landscaping buffers. P&Z recommended 8 pumps. You guys can reduce that down to 6 or 4. There's a lot of options.
Close it out, Pat?
Okay. No more questions? No. All right. We're not gonna close this public hearing. Motions.
I make a motion to approve. You want it?
I'll second.
No.
Keep in mind, if you want any other recommendations that P&Z, you have to put those in the motion. If you want the wall that the P&Z
Oh,
talked
yeah,
about.
do that now?
It would have to be with the motion.
Well, I don't know. There's more than what you said we were allowed to
There
do. I hate to do it, but I mean, I would rather table it and know what we'd agree on. Bring it back next month. I mean, just so we can
Whatever you guys
decide,
want.
so we can decide what we want there or not.
Yeah, whatever. Can you, Jordan, just a question. Can't you make it contingent on what you guys
Well,
want?
yeah, but we don't know is what we're saying.
No, I guess what I'm getting at is it, you can't make it conditional on what you guys work out with him?
No, so it would have to be, the motion right here would have to say specifically. what
Okay,
the
okay.
Is it a big deal, Tom?
No, for us,
I
it
make a
delays
motion to table.
a month, but we wanna make it look right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
however you guys wanna do.
I make a motion to table it for next month.
Second that, table.
All right, we have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. All right, we're gonna go back to agenda item 4.5. The applicant has pulled this from the agenda. All right, so moving on to agenda item number 5, consent agenda items.
Mayor, one thing I'll note is, we anticipated that this would be a long meeting. So we did go ahead and write this as a consent agenda, but that does not mean that the council has to treat all of these as a consent agenda. If there are items you'd like to pull to discuss, we're happy to do that. We just wanted to, post it this way to give y'all the flexibility.
I mean, I keep to 5.3.
Okay.
And I would like to add the Oscar American Statesman, or, you know,
For 5.3?
do I have, yeah.
5.2?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading 5.2, sorry, yes, 5.2. But I mean, yeah, if we can add the Austin American Statement, on that newspaper record. And what I understand, by the way, is that, this is only gonna be in effect for the next, maybe till the new legislation, meets. Because they're gonna go to online, but they're not gonna have to post it in the newspaper now for X amount of days and do all that, they're gonna go online. So anyway, that's a consideration, but I won't hold it up if that's a big deal.
I don't know that we can designate two official newspapers.
Give me one newspaper. Now, you can, I mean, you have to designate an official, but you can always make the effort to make sure that it gets.
You can put it anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd like to pull 5.5, so the city manager gives us a little quick breakdown.
Absolutely, I agree.
Okay.
And if y'all want,
I can greatly appreciate 5.5, and I'm being able to the community to hear more about it, so
Yeah.
thank you again.
and if you want, I can just give a quick overview before the vote and keep it on consent if
Are
there's
you
no
okay with
issues.
that?
So essentially, this is something that we need to go back and spend some more time on and do throughout the city. But this specifically was a request by TxDOT, so with the recent Bed Stockton extension, they have asked us to put in a school zone there and reduce the speed limit to 35 during certain hours when the school zone signs are actually flashing. Again, we need to go back and clean this up for all schools, but they wanted this to go forward, so this is kind of an initial item, and eventually, once we are able to, we will go back and clean it up for the rest of the city and school zones.
Thank you.
All right, would y'all like to vote on each item?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Okay, got a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. All right, well, with that, thank you for your time. Carroll City Council now adjourned at 8:37 p.m.